July 4th, 1987 was the first time that this match had ever taken place. First time this match had ever been conceived, and it was conceived by Dusty Rhodes. When he watched Mad Max Thunderdome, he came up with this idea of a cage that would encompass not only the ring, but would have a top on it to prevent wrestlers from escaping.
This is a place that you have never gone before.
I mean, if you go back and do your homework, you'll see the trail of blood this match has left on our industry.
History lesson for a match like Blood and Guts. Those who know, it's been around for a long, long time, and the men who've walked in this match, legends. Every single one of them has walked out different than they came in.
Brutality. That's what a Blood and Guts match means to me. Throughout history, this match has done one of two things. It's either made careers or it's ended them.
A lot of men have entered this cage thinking they knew about violence, about being in ring shape, about thinking, about pacing themselves. That all goes away when you look around and 7 guys are bleeding and bleeding bad, because you can't crawl out of this cage. There's no way out.
I felt the pain that they are going to endure in this Blood and Guts match. It's no joke. The things that are going to happen to a human's body should not happen like they will happen in Blood and Guts.
Ric Flair, myself, and Arn Anderson, and Barry Windham, we answered the call. You had to put it all in, and you had to give it all.
Prepare to walk in that match. Prepare to limp out. Nobody's going to win this match. One team, though, will survive.
If you think about the genesis of AEW Dynamite, that first episode ended with Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, Santana and Ortiz standing tall, asserting their dominance over all of AEW.
Jake Hager! The Elite being destroyed by Jericho and these hitchmen, for the lack of a better name.
There has been a lot of dangerous matches in AEW. I mean, pro wrestling is inherently dangerous, but when you add things like Falls Count Anywhere, street fights, bunkhouse matches.
A battered and bloody QT Marshall drops the elbow across the throat of the blade.
The level of risk, the level of danger increases exponentially. When you then have 10 men who absolutely hate each other, they loathe, they detest one another, and you lock them inside of a solid steel cage with nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. It is a recipe for disaster.
Probably the most intense contest you'll see on television from anybody, anywhere, anytime. You have 2 rings sitting side by side, completely enclosed, both rings, by the way, by steel. A giant, massive, unforgiving steel cage.
You're going to have 10 guys locked in 2 cages having a bar fight. It is just pure and simple. And if you want to get everybody down and 5 guys stomp one guy's brains out, most people would have you arrested for something like that. And this match is just good strategy.
To me, a Blood and Guts match is proving who is the more dominant team. And I believe without a shadow of a doubt, after May 5th is done, you're gonna know for a fact the most dominant team is Pinnacle.
This isn't a wrestling match. This isn't a fight. This is life and death.
Now that these guys have made this personal, I'm gonna hurt them.
When I said that I've been waiting 19 years for something like this to make my career, I meant it. I work the best under pressure. That's not known because I've never been put in a pressure position until now.
Where we come from, I feel like our entire lives has prepped us for a match like this. We know that there's a possibility we won't walk out of there. But I can guarantee you this, we will not go down on our backs. I refuse to go home to my daughter and explain after putting myself through a match like that have to explain to her why Boppy came home a loser. My pride just won't let that rock.
After Blood and Guts, I have to go home, and I have to play daddy, and I have to play husband. You think I'm gonna let you send me to the hospital for weeks at a time? It ain't gonna happen.
God help you, Pinnacle, when that door closes and it's chained up and you can't escape. That's just when we're gonna get started.
We've seen the dominance of the Inner Circle kind of ebb and flow over time, and the Pinnacle, I don't think will stop until the Inner Circle is fractured, is completely broken, until they are no longer a factor here in AEW. And I think Jericho and the Inner Circle realize that this is not just a fight for dominance, this is a fight for survival. It will change those 10 men in ways we can't possibly imagine.
When I hear the word Blood and Guts, I think redemption, I think revenge, I think violence, I think force, I think domination, I think brutality. I think Blood and Guts is going to be one of the most brutal matches in AEW history, not just because of the scenario that we've put ourselves into, the double cage and a double ring, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 5-on-1, 5-on-5, but with the events that have preceded this, the events that have led to Blood and Guts have demanded a match of this level of heightened violence to take place.
Blood and Guts to me means years off my career, years off my life. It means years off his career. It means years off of Max, years off of Wardlow, years off of Sean Spears' careers. And we don't care because we are here to be the absolute best. And Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle, they all think that they run this place. They all think that they're in charge of this. But when we step inside that ring, when we get locked in that cage, I swear to you, I don't have a wife and daughter waiting for me at home. I have nothing to live for, so I will die in that ring for these men. That's what Blood and Guts means to me.
I didn't want it to get to this point, Chris.
It's FTR Wardlow and Sean Spears. And Tully Blanchard.
I grew up idolizing you. I grew up absolutely adoring Chris Jericho. I genuinely wanted to learn from you, Chris. I really did.
He is as shrewd and as calculating as they come.
It's hard to be surprised at anything MJF does. To say that I thought he would never turn on Chris Jericho would be a misnomer.
There is a new faction in town, boys.
I didn't know what his plan was. I didn't know that MJF had planned his own faction.
There's no surprise. The Pinnacle didn't surprise the Inner Circle.
This was a detailed, thought-out plan for years.
There's absolutely no call for this level of aggression.
I'm no stranger to wrestling factions. The Inner Circle have run roughshod over AEW.
All of a sudden, there's a new group that poses a very real threat to the Inner Circle itself.
We are the Inner Circle, and we are back in black, baby!
I think they're worried more about settling the score, hurting somebody, shutting MJF's mouth.
I go to sleep with one thing on my mind: revenge.
You're gonna have to put us in the ground to get us to stop coming. Oh my God! The Inner Circle is not one man, it's a 5-point fist. And what does a fist do when it punches you in the face? It knocks your teeth down your throat.
I'm gonna take off that heavy burden of a crown off your head and place it atop mine, and my family is going to replace the Inner Circle at the mountaintop here in All Elite Wrestling.
The Pinnacle, I don't think will stop until the Inner Circle is fractured, is completely broken. This is not just a fight for dominance, this is a fight for survival.
At Blood and Guts, MJF, I am going to beat the living hell out of you. You understand me?
I'm about to explode.
It is going to be violent, it is going to be brutal, it is going to be bloody.
The winner of this match, the faction, will set its mark in AEW history.
The only thing we can be sure of is that their careers will be irrevocably altered.
You are going to have to kill us
to make us surrender.
The inner circle is family. The inner circle are blood brothers, guts brothers. Blood and Guts was made for the inner circle.
And it is time for a new era. And that new era is going to be all about the Pinnacle.
Sometimes I think maybe I should change the way it's spelled, you know? Like really, how hard is it to pronounce Marshall?
Maybe you can try dropping an L or adding 2 A's if it helps.
2 A's, 1 L? You think that's why I'm here? This is so stupid.
Look, Mr. Marshall, we can talk about this for the rest of the hour if you want. You know, if it helps with your issues.
My issues? What about Cody Rhodes? You think he's sitting around talking to some shrink? I highly doubt that.
I'm not at liberty to speak about what Mr. Rhodes is doing. This session is about you.
Look, Doc, this whole thing right now, this is about one man who believes he's better than everyone else. And frankly, we're sick of it.
We?
Yeah, we. The entire roster. How do you think they feel getting shuttled around Jacksonville while Cody's got his own tour bus? Tour bus? Hey, buddy, we ain't on tour. We're in Jacksonville every week. But yet, Mr. and Mrs. Rhodes, they feel the need to drive around in a $200,000 bus like they're above riding with the rest of us.
Mr. Marshall, I'm sorry, Mr. Marshall. Sometimes it's best not to compare yourself to what others do and just to focus on the positives. You know, think about it. Where would you be if it wasn't for Cody Rhodes?
Where would I be? This is the type of bullshit I'm talking about. Have you seen my award-winning documentary on Amazon Prime? It's like the whole world thinks if it wasn't for Cody Rhodes, I wouldn't be successful. I've been successful ever since I'm 18 years old.
See, amazing. That's how you gotta do it. You just gotta think about success and how you see it. It's really all that matters and what other people think about it. Maybe, you know, you're not as successful as Cody, but that's not what you should be concerned about.
Successful as Cody. Listen, I got 27 different streams of revenue coming in right now. And unlike Cody, I didn't get my start in this business already on third base. I've had to work from the bottom up, and I've earned every ounce of respect that I have today.
Do you feel respected?
The hell kind of question is that? Of course I feel respected. I'm QT Marshall.
We need to explore why you feel compelled to compare yourself to Cody. Aren't you guys partners at the Nightmare Factory?
It's the factory, and that's my school. That school used to be cool, you know? Then Cody slapped his logo on it when he felt there was another way he could, quote unquote, save wrestling. Now everything's documented, there's a paper trail, and it's like a glorified daycare. Brings -1 in, and I gotta go play with him in the ring. I'll tell you what about that kid, too. When he turns 18, I'm gonna knock his teeth down his throat.
Maybe you two can finally settle your differences at Blood and Guts on Wednesday.
Blood and Guts. Another Cody coined phrase that he didn't come up with, but he definitely took the credit, right? Wednesday night, Cody's gonna pay his debt. This whole facade that he's presented to the world, that he helped me become a professional wrestler. Tony Khan asked me to wrestle because I am an excellent professional wrestler. After Wednesday night, Cody's gonna have a lot of free time on his hands. This way he could take care of his newborn or go back to Hollywood or whatever else he wants to do.
I don't know if we've gotten anywhere today, but I think that your time is up.
What do you mean, my time is up?
I have another client.
He can wait. What? You want more money? Is that what it is? Here, take it. Look, here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, you know what? Take it all. Take it all.
Good luck on Wednesday.
Welcome, MJF, to the Inner Circle, baby!
He wanted them to rule AEW, but MJF...
Oh, my God!
...betrayed him.
No. Chris Jericho, the Inner Circle, got outsmarted.
We are the Pinnacle!
Now, Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle are out for blood.
The worst is yet to come!
Don't miss Blood and Guts, an AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite event, live at 8 on TNT.